few months back, we went over 10 useful Windows shortcuts that you might not know. So today, we're gonna go over 10 more. Hey, what's up everybody? Dimitri of Caddac Gaming here, and today, as mentioned, we're gonna go over 10 more useful Windows shortcuts that you might not know that you'll probably find useful. If you end up finding this video helpful, I'd really appreciate it if you liked and subscribed. Really helps me out, and we're getting to 1,000 subscribers. We're really close. So to anybody that watches or subscribes to my channel, I very much appreciate you. And let's just hop right into these 10 useful shortcuts. So this first shortcut is going to be very helpful if you're trying to troubleshoot something, or you're trying to stop something from running because it's causing issues. And if you hold Shift while your computer boots up, it will disable all AutoRun and start at Windows apps. It'll stop them all from starting so that you're able to either uninstall the program that you know is causing the problem, or start to disable some of them to try to troubleshoot. This comes in really handy. I've only used it a couple times. I only use it when I absolutely need to, but when you do need it, it's great to have. Now, another really great tool is using Windows Shift and S. That will start the Windows Snip tool, which will allow you to screenshot only a small portion of your screen. So if you wanted to send your friend something, instead of print screening, bringing it into Paint or something, and then trying to crop it there, you can crop directly on your screen. It makes it really helpful if you're trying to send something in particular. It's really great. If you want to, you can also change your default print screen so that it automatically does the Windows Snip tool as well. But I do find that if I accidentally click it while I'm playing a game or something, it's a bit of a pain in the butt, but you're more than welcome to change that setting as well. Now, a lot of people don't know, but if you press the Windows key and any of the numbers from 1 until 9, you'll actually launch that corresponding app on your taskbar. Makes it really easy, especially if you have one already open. You can also use it to maximize it. So if you have your Spotify minimized and a song comes up and your mouse is dead or it's just far away and you already have your hands on the keyboard, just press Windows and whatever button corresponds, it'll pull that window up or it'll launch the program if it's not already on. Now, if you want to do the opposite, Windows M is going to minimize all of your open windows. It's going to send the minimize command to everything at once and minimize them for you. Now, using Windows M is really useful if you've opened up too many windows, or if you've zipped a file and zipped it right to your desktop, or moved something to your desktop. Using Windows M is a really easy way to get directly to your desktop and get to what you need to. Some applications don't recognize Windows M or the minimize command, and therefore if you use Windows M, they will stay open and everything else will close. More recently, in like Windows 98, Windows did Windows D, and what that does is it shows the desktop or it hides the desktop. So you press Windows D, it'll hide everything and it'll show you the desktop. And if you press Windows D again, it'll bring everything back up that you had. So this isn't minimizing anything, but it's actually just kind of hiding it and then showing it again. This one's really helpful. I've used this one a lot more than Windows M now. It's typically, like I mentioned before, if I go and unzip something to the desktop or what have you. But if you can notice, my desktop is absolutely empty and I don't put anything on it. But on my streaming computer, I do unzip things to the desktop every once in a while. And Windows D is what I use for that. So a lot of people know that you can drag a window to the left or right to snap it, but what a lot of people don't know is that you can do this with a keyboard shortcut, and you get a little bit more functionality when using the keyboard as well. So if you hold Windows and you do your left or right keys on your keyboard, it will snap it to the left or the right, and if you hold it, it'll actually allow you to choose a program to take up the other half of the monitor. Now you can also use Windows up and Windows down, and if you use Windows up, it'll bring it to the top half. If you press Windows up again, it'll actually maximize the full window, and if you do Windows down, it'll bring it to the bottom half. If you do Windows down again, it will minimize the program, which is obviously something that you can use quite a bit, and it can be very helpful. So next up is Task View, which is like a more advanced version of Alt-Tab. And what Task View allows you to do is it allows you to see all of your windows that are currently open in an active state. To get the Task View, you press Windows Tab. You'll get the Task View there. And if you have a video playing or any kind of motion on a window, it will continue to persist throughout Task View, which is super helpful. And you can use your arrow keys to move around and get to a task view. You can use your mouse and click on one. It's a really good way to switch between applications, or if, say, you're downloading something on Steam and you just wanted to quickly check where the progress is at. Sometimes if you use Alt-Tab, it will have a snapshot of the last time you had it open, but it won't be the active window. It won't actually show what's going on. Task View, however, is always going to show the active window and what is actually currently going on it. So it's a really great way to see stuff like that. Or if you have a video going on, you know, all that kind of stuff. Really good, really useful, and it'll become more useful for our next tip as well. Now, another thing that people don't even know is in Windows are virtual desktops. And what those allow you to do is it allows you to separate your desktop into multiple versions, as if you have multiple computers running. And the really helpful thing about virtual desktops is that you can separate things that you're doing. So if you use your computer to work and you also use it for personal use, you can set up a virtual desktop really quickly to have all of your work applications open, and then have your main desktop with your personal stuff on it. For me, when I'm recording videos, I usually open up a virtual desktop so that everything's nice and clean and you don't see any of the running applications like OBS. And it allows me to just, you know, work with a clean slate, and I can use the task view to switch between those virtual desktops. You can close them from there, you can manage them all from there. It's really great. The only thing is you can only have an application running on one virtual desktop at a time. So if you have Spotify open on your main desktop and then you try to open it on the virtual desktop, it will bring you back to the desktop that has Spotify open. So just keep that one in mind. So next up, Control-Shift-Escape is like the Can I Speak to Your Manager of Windows. It immediately brings up the Task Manager. So instead of having to do Control-Alt-Delete and then clicking on View Task Manager, Control-Shift-Escape allows you to get there immediately. It is extremely useful. Closing tasks and programs that are just not responding is super helpful this way. And if you do use Task Manager, I highly suggest that you use the detailed view and not the standard default view. In the detailed view, you do get a lot more information. You get the performance tab, you get to see utilization, and I would also suggest that you make it so that it always appears on top, so that if you're playing a game, for example, that's full screen, and you try to pull it up, if you don't have it appear on top, the game will usually take precedence over top of the task manager, and you'll never be able to close that program properly, and you'll probably have to restart your computer. But if you have task manager always appear on top, you can avoid that issue. And then if you ever need to have it in the background for something and then pull it up, you can turn that option off for a second. But I do suggest having it as appear on top always. Now, if you have a keyboard that doesn't have a Windows key, so maybe you have a 10 keyless, a 60%, a wireless keyboard, or if you're even using like a Mac keyboard, you can use those on Windows. Sometimes you're still going to need to press that Windows key to access something quickly. You can use Control and Escape. It'll bring up the Start menu, and you'll have your full functionality. Something that's really helpful. I found it really helpful when I use certain wireless keyboards that do not have a Windows key, and you know, it's come in pretty handy. I don't normally press the Windows key with my mouse ever. I usually use a button on the keyboard. And finally, a little bonus. In your browser, if you've accidentally closed a tab and you really want to get back to it, you can press Control-Shift-T and it'll reopen the last closed tab. And you can keep on doing that and reopen a whole bunch of closed tabs that you've done. And it even works on sessions. So if you accidentally close an entire browser, you can reopen the browser, press Control-Shift-T, and it'll reopen the last session that you had. This is super helpful. If you use Control-W to close tabs, which I do, and sometimes I'll press it a little too many times, it'll close too many tabs, I want to reopen it, Control-Shift-T. It's very helpful in that situation. This is probably the one that I've shown people and they've gone, oh my God, how have I lived my life without this shortcut? Super helpful, and I hope you guys find helpful as well. And that's it. I hope you found this video helpful. If you found a new shortcut that helps you out, please consider liking and subscribing. It really helps me out. And as I mentioned, we're really close to 1,000 subscribers. I'm really hoping to get there by the summer. Thank you to everybody who has subscribed and who watches my videos. I very much appreciate you. And hopefully we'll do something special once we get to 1,000. If there's a shortcut that you did find helpful in this video, leave a comment in the section below and let me know which one. Or if there's any ones that you use on your personal time that I haven't mentioned in these last 2 videos, also leave them in the comments and I'd love to get to them. Maybe I'll include them in the next video. I'll try to do these every once in a while when I think of new shortcuts that I think people will find helpful. And we'll just keep this kind of series going. If there's a shortcut that I used in here that you're not sure of the full functionality, you can go ahead and join the Discord. I'll leave a link in the description below, and we can have a little bit more of a discussion. A lot of people do get a little bit confused with how the virtual desktops work, so if you're one of those people, head on over to the Discord, and we can get you all figured out. As always, I stream on Twitch from Friday until Tuesday. Come check me out and say hello. If you have any questions about any of the shortcuts, or talking about other shortcuts that you like to use on your day-to-day basis, come let me know. Come say hello in the chat. I'd love to see you there. I try to answer everybody as quickly as possible. And thanks again for watching to the end of the video. Stay safe out there, and I'll see you next Friday.